I think many of the objects within the museum need a lot of therapy. They probably have had a very hard life that we might not have taken into account since they've been institutionalized, and now their current condition as a historical object makes their life very difficult. Hi, I'm Gala Porras Kim. I'm an artist living in LA, and I'm from Colombia. I am here at Delfina doing a residency as part of Collecting as Practice program. One of my recent projects has to do with the objects that were dredged out of the sacred cenote at Chichen Itza. And this was the Mayan rain god's donation pit, and how the law was used to move the objects from the cenote into the Peabody Museum at Harvard. And thinking about how we might reunite the rain with his objects, which are still potentially being used. Usually many of my projects are about historical objects within institutions, but the ones that I'm thinking about now are mainly ones that their original function is still ongoing, such as objects that go to the grave, or objects that might be donated to a spiritual entity, which in theory might still be doing that function today. So it's also thinking about how their current lives within institutions might not overshadow that original intention and how they can both live together. So during my residency, I've gone to look at the objects at the British Museum that might still be alive in a different way, such as reincarnated person who now is stuck in a sculpture shape in the Egyptian room, or mold, or rats, or pests, or any sort of like non-human living thing. The other day we did a trial run to try and feed one of the people who's stuck in a sculpture shape in the museum. And so we went to the bakery and tried to find the nearest spot where we could put this bread and feed it. Because of course the best case scenario might be to put it directly in the galleries, but maybe that's not possible right now. As part of the research, I really took documentation of most of the signs in the museum and just paying attention to the literal language that already exists, which already is telling how those objects lived in past life. It's just more taking it literally and doing what it says. So for example, there's a coffin there in the Egyptian room, which is supposed to be facing east, but currently is facing southwest. So the projects that I'm making is just these sort of proposals to just do these small interventions. Some of the proposals that I'm making for updating the display of the British Museum will end up being realized as works for my show at Gasworks in January, and then probably donated to the museum after so they can update their display system.